Welcome back, guys. I'm so excited to be here in our podcast. Young and Her. So this week we have a very interesting topic. You guys would never guess. Don't try. You won't guess.
No,
What is it?
We won't
I
try.
was gonna try, but okay.
It's about sharing the good news. And before we start, I want to read a verse that I thought it was kind of interesting because it's in Proverbs, and we usually think of good news, gospel, New Testament, but it says, like cold water to a weary soul, good news from a distant land. So I know when we talk about the gospel, because gospel means good news, we kind of think about what Jesus did for us and what that is. But I love how the whole Bible is connected, and it talks like good news is to a tired soul like drinking cold water. So I want to hear you guys' thought. What does it look like in your life to share the good news?
Well, for me,
I was like, who's gonna go first? I was
Nah,
like, you
I'll
want to play
continue.
paper, rock, scissors for this or what?
Fight over it.
No, but I want to. So for me to share the good news of the gospel is like, it's for me the way I think about it is like, okay, well, the first thing is we want to do is, share the Jesus, be the light, share the light, be kind, be grateful, be just showing an example wherever you go when it's either school, either going to work, not being, mean, not being, prideful, not being understandable, being kind and talking and be like, hey, how you doing? My name is Alex. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And then later on,
Meet you, Alex.
But if you ever feel that feeling like, man, like, you know what? I want to share something with you, like with a coworker, with a friend, or with someone random that you meet at the grocery store, and it's like, hey, I don't know, but I feel like God is touching my heart to tell you this, like you're loved, or whatever you're going through. He's probably using me to speak to them,
So what you're saying is sometimes it starts with the way we act and the way we live, and that opens the door to the conversations that would allow us to share the good news.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think?
Oh, I was like,
I'm sorry.
You go first.
Okay.
You go first.
Let's skip sides. How I share the gospel is I like to use my social media. I don't want to say platform. I don't have like 1,000 followers, but
Look, it does.
We gotta check.
Every
So,
person counts, right?
it does. Whether it's 1 or 1,000.
Your mom and your grandma that follow you, we know.
just
Yeah.
tell them your Instagram so they can follow you.
No. Oh my God.
On the description, it's on
Follow
the
me
description.
So I share it through there, and it's like whether I see like preachers like preach, I will like repost that on my like Instagram story, and then I feel like I watch everybody's stories. So if I watch everybody's stories, and I'm assuming that everybody else is gonna watch mine, so they're gonna get to see that, whatever they're going through, like it's on Instagram. Who's not on Instagram? So let's say somebody's having a bad day, they go through my Instagram, boom, a preaching.
Yeah.
And then that's like spreading I'm doing like my spread of like the gospel through there. So that's how I do it.
And it's like you believe in the power of the word on itself. You believe that God's going to touch whoever needs to be touched. Awesome.
Okay. Well, for me, how I spread it is, recently I've done it with my brother. I was raised Catholic. I wasn't raised Christian, but I converted to Christianity, and my brother wanted to be a part of it. Woo. So then, yes. So I brought him to church, and now he's loving it. He wants to come all the time now, and maybe he will convert too. It's up to him.
Well, the question is, who shared the good news with you?
Let me give a shout out to Kevin.
Shout out to Kevin. Woo!
Kevin is the reason why I started coming here.
Awesome.
He told us about youth and all that, so I started coming over here, and then I just fell in love with it, and I just stayed. I started, and then I moved to another church.
You started with the plant?
No. Sorry.
He brings this plant
I started
everywhere.
with a church more down that way,
Yeah.
but then I came back over here. So, so I started bringing them into it, and it makes me feel good, because I'm spreading it out, and hopefully he brings it to his friends, and his friends want to come, and it just expands and expands,
Yep.
I keep hitting the plant, and I feel bad for it.
It's
I'm just
okay.
abusing it.
It's a strong plant.
I think
And like you said, like it just starts with one person.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then from there, it's like you started with your brother's going to start with his friends is going to start with his other friends, and then boom, we have like, a lot of
Even
people.
and hopefully like the entire family as well, right?
Yes. Hopefully.
What
That's
are
the goal.
They're kind of strict.
what are the things that you guys feel like sometimes stop us from sharing something that we know can help someone else, can impact their life?
I think it's like we're like scared of what people are gonna say. You know, it's like we're scared
yeah.
of like how people are gonna view me if I'm like coming up to like a stranger or somebody that I don't know and they're like, well, why are you telling me this? You know?
Yeah.
And some people take it the wrong way sometimes. And I feel like that's what kind of like intimidates us to go out of our own comfort zone and like step out of that and be like, hey, God is telling me this. But sometimes we get scared because we're like, well, I don't know what their reaction's gonna be.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
I agree. And sorry. And then
Go.
also like this is like I don't want to say recent that I found out, but I just by thinking about it and watching it, I know that we represent God. We're Christians ourselves. If someone was to ask us if we're Christian, then obviously I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm Christian. There's no bother, right? But then I also what makes me fear to talk to others about it. Not so much fear, but I'm always like cautious about it. Is that man? Everyone is always gonna judge the person, and because they judge the person, they're like, oh, a Christian is this, a Christian is that. They're very religious, when in reality, they judge us, and since in their mentality that we're representing God, they automatically think that God is like that.
Yeah.
So if one of us was to like, let's say, one of our Christian families, friends over here, and they make a wrong mistake, and all of a sudden, boom, the person's like, man, God's not gonna love me if this Christian thinks that I'm bad for being gay or for being, for sinning and smoking and doing drugs, or I don't belong at church. Just by that one person who represents God, they already think that God's gonna be like that, and they're gonna judge him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I
true.
It's like kind of like not stereotypical, but some people see us Christians, as like, oh, like you do this, oh, you're bad, or you're bad,
Yeah,
or
we're
you're
trying
bad.
to turn
Yeah.
you into Christians. Go away from Catholicism.
Yeah, like we're not forcing y'all. Like it's your decision to do it. We're just inviting y'all in to join
Just
us.
the wave. Just hop on
Yeah.
it, you know?
So I'm always like being cautious of what I say or what I do. So like just as an example, like with his sister, I'm not gonna go into details. I'm not gonna go into details.
About
to
to
expose
expose your old
But she was
He's
telling
like, hold up.
No, I is it working?
Yeah.
I could say, but my sister is neither. Like she doesn't believe in God, so
Okay.
she's
Like an
more
atheist.
into the crystals and all that, and the sage
she's
and all
into
that.
the
Which
Like
if
earth.
that's
One
her
with the
thing,
earth.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. It's her belief. She wants to believe that. But like what he was saying is that's how my sister is. She
Yeah.
doesn't believe in God.
And she was telling me how she went in her Catholic moments. She was like, she did all day. She did the first. I don't even.
First communion.
First
Yeah.
communion, the classes, everything
Yeah.
that to be Catholic. I don't know what it is.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and then she told
It's
me
a
that
lot.
she
You know what I'm
never-
talking about, right?
So
Yeah.
all that practice, she never believed in God. She never understood it. So she went from there to testing every little thing, testing like, okay, well, I'm gonna go from Catholic, I'm gonna go and believe in, what Indians used to believe, like the
Yeah.
spirits, the earth, the wind, the fire. The fire is a god. The sun is his god, and that's what she's into. And I know that she was talking to me about it, but obviously I'm not gonna be like, oh no, you're wrong. Oh no, don't think like that.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna do is listen and be like, oh, okay.
And then
And then-
invite her because why? This is
Exactly.
where everybody wants to be because everybody in this place is the same age. We all have like the same things, and that's where it starts. Like we have something in
Yeah.
common. Bring them to church.
Yeah.
And everyone's gonna have that one moment that they're gonna be like, you know what? Let me test. Okay, is God the only God? People are gonna have that mentality, and she's
Yeah.
going through that phase, and she's giving everything a chance.
Yeah.
So I don't want to mess that up to be negative.
So
and
did you
be like,
invite her?
That's
I'm
the
getting
question.
there. I'm building my
Slowly.
relationship
Yeah.
with her.
She's
I'm
stubborn
listening first
a little
before I
bit.
speak to her.
I love you, sis, but you're stubborn.
No.
We
Well-
are twins for a reason.
Many times, the
Yeah, I have a twin. She's my
no,
twin.
No, you have to bring her.
We don't look alike.
Hey,
Trust me.
shout out to the twins.
Many times, the first encounter with God or Jesus that somebody have is through us. It's through the love that we reflect. So sometimes it's something as having patience for someone, not being judgmental, not showing that we're a set of rules, we're this religion. But hey, look, there's something that can change your life, that can change your brokenness, because I've been broken too. And I think sometimes we get a bad rep because for such a long time, people have been preaching rules, and they don't feel like a good news to me. They feel like a bad news to me. Like, you mess up, you're going to hell. That's not good news. And sometimes it's like, it's hard to convey, hey, look, this is not a religion. It's a relationship with Christ.
Yes.
How do you guys think we can
That
do
is
that?
so good, Jesse.
I know. Dropping the mic.
No, just drop it.
A relationship with Christ. That's really
There
good.
you
That's
go.
what it is.
How can we convey that to the people that we love, and then we want to share this because we think we found a treasure?
Well, for me, it's more like I have to change the mentality. So, like you said, there's law for, with God. There's law when it comes to, Christians and knowing God and believing in God. There's laws, right? That's what we're saying. But the way that I think about it is like, okay, instead of making it like rules, let's think about it as standards, because God has standards. He loves us. He loves no matter like who we are. He loves us, but he doesn't love our sin. So that's the thing, that's a standard that he has, and we have to respect it. Just like all of us have a standard, that's his standard. And that's and by sharing that and telling people like, hey, don't think that God is like very strict. Don't think that he's gonna punish you just like that.
Yeah.
He's forgiving, he's loving, but he does have his standards.
Yeah. I think obedience to the standard should follow after love for God. Because then you don't feel like you have to meet all the rules, but you just do it. It flows more naturally. And I think many, and this is just my personal opinion, when Christianity comes out as something true is when we share with humbleness, and we're not scared to share our mistakes and our bad side too.
Yeah, and I think we all need to share that, because then everybody just thinks that like everything is perfect, and we go through different situations, we go through different stages in our lives. We've been broken, like it's not all just like happy and like rainbow, and like we go through things as well. But what gets us through it is that we have Christ, and that he helps us through all of that. And whatever we're going, we know that it just takes a couple of seconds to pray, like, God, help me through whatever I'm going through today in this day.
Yeah.
And like by that just like makes my day brighter, and I'm like, you know what, like this is like my mentality, like God's with me, like let's keep going, because why am I gonna be behind, and like why am I gonna let things like
preach.
Just keep going
why
off.
am I
Keep going
gonna
off.
let things like affect me, knowing that I have Christ in my heart, and knowing that I am gonna be okay at the end of the day?
Yeah.
I think if we hide our brokenness, it makes other people that are broken feel alone.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
the only ones. And the
Yeah.
truth is,
I
we're all
mean-
human.
Yeah, we've all been through. Well, I've been through. I don't know about y'all, but I'm pretty sure we all
yeah,
have.
I'm pretty
We all
sure
have,
we
but
all
we've been
have.
through
We all
that
go through
phase,
different
and
things, yeah.
I'm not proud of some things I've done in my past. We've all made mistakes. But that's what led me to God, to get closer to Him. That's how I got closer to Him, from my mistakes. I got closer to Him, praying to Him. When I was at the other church, I let everything out. And I just let it all to God, and I just talked to Him, and that's how I got closer to Him.
Just talk to him. There you go.
Mhm.
It's so simple.
The real good news is that God is willing to meet us in the middle of our brokenness.
Yes.
And that, to
Amen.
me, is the most powerful part.
Amen to that.
Well,
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you
Make
guys for
sure that
joining.
you guys
Thank
keep tuning
you.
in.
we're always glad to have you with us.
keep listening to our podcast.
Yes.
We will see you next week.
So stay
Bye.
tuned.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
For more of this podcast, follow us on Instagram at Grace Youth Espanol and at Young and Heard.